there's a microphone right there to catch the last gurgles, and Technicolor to photograph the red swollen tongue.
Hey, Vern.
Future events such as these
Anglin
will affect you in the future.
Damn you, Rabbit! You smell like fucking piss!
You're watching The Projectors.
Hell yeah!
A film fan program discussing a variety of movies from history and around the world.
What do you think of this boner I got?
Featuring your hosts, Bob Sham.
When you're Scandinavian, flopping out your mommy milkers is nothing.
And Angela.
If they were just gun perverts, this would be fine.
Party!
Thank you for selecting The Projectors.
I want French pancakes like at IHOP.
And now a preview of our film discussion.
Ready, camera one. Hit it.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? You can't escape from yourself. Would you like to stop?
Sure you want to do this?
Certainty is the great enemy of unity. Certainty is the deadly enemy of tolerance. If there was only certainty and no doubt, there would be no mystery, and therefore no need for faith.
Life can only be understood backwards, but we have to live it forwards.
To survive, we must become more than we were programmed to be.
You do not know this guy.
Be a fucking man and talk to me!
It is a war, and you have to commit to a side.
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
It is no coincidence that fate brought us together.
To listen is to accept.
This is the substance.
Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid.
Hello. Happy Oscar season.
Hello.
I know we did this whole thing where we're like, we're going to leave for a while. But we did say we were going to do this. We decided to do it. I think it's kind of fun to go through this because we will, especially thanks to the show and doing it the last few years, that we're going to watch the Oscars. We watched it last year for the first time in forever. Things happen at the Oscars. People are the elites are slapping each other on stage,
Making out with each other.
Warren Beatty's calling the wrong Best Picture winner. You know, I realize like we can't miss those moments. You know, maybe I was a little too hard on the stuffy Oscars. It's not something I ever take personal. I mean, it does suck when lame shit wins, but often the thing you want to win doesn't win. But we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some movies we saw last year as well.
Yeah.
But we got predictions. We got sheets that you made.
I did.
So
I spent a lot of time.
Even though we've seen like maybe 30% of these movies.
I would like you to look at this sheet that I made.
Can we put a link to somewhere in our notes to your sheet?
Yeah, I can like maybe put it on the website.
This is very loose. We're going to be very breezy. So how have you been? How was your 2024? It sucked. You were there for mine.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good. But the best part about it was probably all the movies we watched together. We watched a lot of movies out in the world. And I'm trying to think of, it's been like almost a year since we've seen some of these, but let's talk about a few movies that came out in 2024 that got a little bit snubbed by the Academy. There's not many that came out in 2020. We did The Substance for the show, and we did Dune Part 2, in a Deep Space 6-pack episode we did earlier in the year.
Yes.
With our greater bullshit tomorrow. No, it was during Star Wars month. It was right before Star Wars month.
Yeah, The Substance and Dune Part 2.
Those are two movies we like.
Yes.
I like Dune Part 2, and we like The Substance too, but I feel like...
We saw Nosferatu.
We saw Nosferatu, yeah.
I saw Wicked.
So these are the ones we haven't discussed. You've seen Wicked, I haven't.
Yeah.
We saw The Bike Riders. The Bike Riders. I thought Jodie Comer would probably get a nomination for her performance in there.
I think it came out too early in the year.
Austin Butler, who's a fun actor I'm keeping my eyes on. That seemed like soft work for him, looking like a hunk on a motorcycle.
I love him.
But Tom Hardy's in that movie, and
I love him too.
I love Tom Hardy. It'll be like, Tom, we got a character we want you to play. They'll maybe give Tom some notes on what the character's like. And Tom's like, yeah, I'm going to come up with something. And then he shows up the next day and he's like, hey, how's it going? Hey, my name's Billy.
And he's like holding his head.
I'm a character in this movie. He just come in with the weirdest fucking voices.
You want this pretty bad, huh, kid?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet if I offered you to run this whole club, you'd take it in a heartbeat, right?
What?
Nothing.
He did that in The Revenant, where he apparently learned a specific dialect that was specific to a certain part of Virginia at like during early colonial era shit. His Venom voice, his Eddie Brock that he picked for his Venom voice is apparently strange, and his voice is a little weird too, like Chicago, but kind of like that high pitched, something like that. It's been a minute since we've seen the movie.
Yeah.
But Jodie Comer is the
so
fucking
good.
star in that movie. And the way she does that Chicagoland accent.
I don't want you riding. Yeah, it scares me, especially this soon after surgery. I don't like it.
You don't like
Oh, I get worried.
I should just go. I'm just gonna leave.
What?
No, it's better. You'd be better off.
Stop it.
I think we should do the projector's honorable mentions, and she would be our honorable mention for leading actress.
We thought she was great in that movie, and I love how kind of low key that movie is too. It's not the way it deals with biker culture. It very much looks at it. It's not really a romanticizing of it. It feels very matter of fact. I mean, the trailers kind of presented the bike riders as like it might be a crime movie, and that element is there, but it doesn't dominate. It's literally about a bunch of dudes in the Chicago area who saw the fucking Wild Bunch, or the Wild Ones, the Marlon Brando movie, and they mentioned it in the movie, and then they want to ride motorcycles and wear leather jackets, and they do have code shit. There's a little bit of like territorial shit involved. It's not a glorification. I feel like it's one of the most objective views of that culture from the ground floor. And it also is about how the culture changed into something that was really beyond what these men who just wanted to be motorcycle nerds.
Yeah, they really were nerds. And that's what's so great about the way Jodie Comer plays that character, but also the script. She's not head over heels. She does not want to like this guy.
But she is drawn to him.
Because, hello.
He's a hunk.
And he's quiet, and he's, seems a little like brooding or misunderstood,
That's the easiest role Austin Butler's ever played.
I know. They were like, Austin Butler, can you just come look hot for a bit?
Just go sit on the motorcycle, Austin, and just do your faces, that face you do.
Austin Butler in Dune 2?
You humiliated our family. You humiliated me. Kiss or die.
It was hot.
We're old enough to be his parents. We kind of have to remind ourselves that sometimes.
Yeah, but he's like in his 20s. It's not like I'm talking about a child.
Gene Hackman met his wife when she was 25 and he was 55.
And I think it's okay for me to say that this man who looked like basically an alien was hot.
I thought Stellan Skarsgård in Dune is super fucking hot.
Well, that kiss.
And the character that Austin Butler played thought so as well.
I know.
They're related.
Rid me of this Fremen demon.
He's like his nephew.
They should have that scene when he kisses him on Pornhub, like in that stepdad thing. I guess they're not step. I guess they're blood. Dune Part 2. I like that movie. I don't know if I'd pick it for Best Picture. I didn't
either.
Now look, there's a lot on this list that we haven't seen yet. We will see it. We are going to see all these movies, and maybe we'll come back and be like, nah, this should have happened. But I do have a prediction based on how I think the Oscars act.
Same.
Not so much of what's in my heart.
I did go heart a few times because I just literally have to.
You love Anora, so you hearted all over Anora and maybe Wicked, right?
You might be surprised.
Well, let's go ahead and give a judgment for The Bike Rider since we talked about that.
Hell yeah.
And what do you give that movie? I think it's a solid 4 movie.
I was going to say 4 as well. So we're going to give Bike Riders an 8.
Bike Riders is an 8. I haven't looked up. Forget the director. I haven't put the director in. I'll do that later. We saw that movie literally almost a year ago. That's
we
about
saw it in
when
the theater.
It came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of these I think we saw in the theater. Next movie that we saw last year that is snubbed by the Academy.
I know what you're going to say.
Beetlejuice.
Oh.
Beetlejuice.
I thought you were going to say Beekeeper.
We saw that with our niece, and we watched the original the night before. We did that thing, and the original's still a lot of fun. A really creative, fun comedy, dark comedy movie.
I think if you want to like Beetlejuice at all, do not watch the original one right before.
It might help.
Because it doesn't. It's so good. The first one is so good.
Beetlejuice, we just didn't like it, and I felt like the parts that even felt the most like classic Beetlejuice felt a little bit desperate in that sense.
Yes.
I think and a lot of the angles of the plots, it's just, I think it's just a kind of a nostalgia rehash that did not work out. And frankly, I just thought it was kind of boring for the most part, but there is one actor in that, movie that I felt like was the same, that felt exactly like her old character. And that's Catherine.
She was amazing.
Oh, I mean, she's great.
She's always going to be great. She was great, and I loved her in it, but the whole movie was ruined for me by any reference to Jeffrey Jones' character.
The juice is loose.
Oh, you're right.
Because that man is a fucking pedophile.
I wonder if because
you have to pay him, right?
In the claymation part, they did like a claymation thing that showed what happened to him, but like they did use his likeness. It looked like
there
him.
was a photo of him, I believe, and they did have a different actor play his body at one point in the afterlife.
Right, he got bit by a shark. Yeah,
but you know what? Who cares? It could have been half a line that he had a heart attack 10 years ago, and you could have just had an all-girl story.
Yeah, I mean, he got caught with pedo stuff a long time ago.
Don't put him back in your movie.
I'm directing a movie, and it stars Jeffrey Jones. I've been meaning to tell you.
Well, I've been meaning to tell you that I'm moving out.
It's yet another remake of Planet of the Apes. We're starting over again. You know?
Wait, but just one came out last year. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
He's Dr. Zaius.
So, okay.
And in this version, Dr. Zaius is a pedophile. These are the kind of jokes you get that you're going to miss because we're going to be off for months. If you guys were wondering, does Angela like pedophiles? This is proof that she's not into pedophilia or pedophiles. So if there's anybody questioning that.
Well, and now I also think I'm done with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Because this was his decision. And what the fuck are you thinking? I already don't like your movies anymore. I used to love them. And there will always be a soft spot in my heart for Ed Wood and Edward Scissorhands and some of those early films. But like, if if Jeffrey Jones got a paycheck off of him being put in that movie, then I am just also done with Tim Burton.
You know, I understand your feeling and reaction because if anyone was wondering if Angela supports pedophiles or pedophilia, she doesn't. But think about all the things she hasn't clarified that she doesn't support. Just assume she's into that shit. But
I think I've brought up most of the things I hate the most in this show.
But I think when it comes to talking about movies, you really hit a brick wall because, I mean, even like some of our listed dogs, like I read on Robert Mitchum later in his life, he kind of said maybe too much shit in interviews. That was bad.
No one is perfect.
And that's even light, you know, and then you got Roman Polanski who has made movies we really like. We know what he did but we always bring up what these people did.
It.
Like that is kind of their curse with us. Like it's not going to really change my opinion on the art.
Sure, the art.
I think art is. I don't think it changes. The quality of something changes because the people involved are even evil or anything. But I mean, it just so happened that Hitler was a shitty painter. Like that just lucked out like that. We don't have to deal with Hitler's great paintings, you know, at the same time of him being Hitler.
The place where it does become when it's hardest is in a situation like Woody Allen, because I have made it clear that I don't want anyone who is a known pedophile
alleged
to get money from us, so I won't buy any of their stuff new.
No, we'll shoplift their movies and steal them.
When it is impossible
allegedly
to separate the art from the artist is with a director, writer, actor like Woody Allen, because he puts himself in his movies. Half of his movies are about old men fucking young girls.
So you would, like in Woody Allen in particular, you would not be able to separate.
It would just be very hard not to think about that the whole
time.
I think
you have kind of I understand.
I can watch Rosemary's Baby and not think about Roman Polanski in that hot tub.
Really, Woody Allen, he's in like 3/4 of his own movies. This is what I'm saying.
You can see him and his story.
If you need a babysitter, that's the worst Woody Allen impression ever.
It is.
But like, if you're going to sit and watch Manhattan or Hannah and Her Sisters, like Hannah and Her Sisters, I've seen that movie, a Thanksgiving movie, by the way, that is in the chamber for that holiday. I do really enjoy that movie. I think Manhattan's a pretty good movie. Actually, I've never seen Annie Hall, but I haven't. But I haven't seen like tons of his movies.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy made so many fucking movies. Like, but I can't say that that there's something not good about those. Like, I can still judge them. But when we talk about Woody Allen, it's always going to be in the context of like there's going to be an asterisk, alleged pedophile Woody Allen, and a lot of these people. When you get to know these personalities over the years, even as separate from the allegations. You're like, some of these people are like, all right, you can stop fucking talking.
Yeah.
You know, you can just go play your fucking horn, your clarinet. Beetlejuice. What do you give that?
2.5.
I'm going to say a 1.75. So that would be a 3.75. So check it out. Even my niece didn't care for the movie, and she'll watch anything. I've seen evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
The next movie that we saw, you mentioned it earlier, The Beekeeper.
I figured I'd give the firefighters a break. I put them through enough already.
What do you say your name was?
Currently, I go by Adam Clay. Trust me, if there was a back entrance, I would have used it. I don't want to injure anyone who's innocent or not involved. But it is what it is.
Somebody detain this guy!
The Jason Statham movie.
Jason Statham.
He's got a ton of movies like this, but they've just been sitting there waiting for us. And I know it is what it is, and I've never like disliked Jason Statham, but it is something that's like, these seem fun, but I'd rather watch something else.
Yes.
And then this year we're like, fuck it, we're going to sit down and we're going to watch The Beekeeper. Poor Felicia Rashad getting scammed in that movie. And then the villain is a skateboard around the office tech bro that gets his at the end. There was some things with his mom, who I think was like fucking president or something, if I remember right.
Yeah, she was the president.
But The Beekeeper has got to straighten this out because Felicia Rashad got scammed out of a lot of money. And she killed herself, didn't she?
She did. She shot herself because she lost like $2 million that was part of a charity. With like she had the passwords to it. Jason Statham lived in her barn.
Yeah.
And do you think they were fucking?
And they were. I mean, I think he, in a way of respect, laid pipe on her.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? It's like I have to do my duty to get her off.
Here's what I think.
I don't know if it's love, but
I think that they didn't.
He did keep bees, if y'all are wondering. He does keep bees.
He kept bees, and he would bring her honey. And I don't think he fucked her because I think he really respected her, but she was totally rubbing it out.
She was like, I think she was, not to get crude about it, you know, like she was like a mother figure to him.
Yes.
And he's a guy who's a top secret government operative, sort of. This organization is its own special thing. And when you mention it amongst other high-ranking government officials, they just about pee-poo-poo their pants.
What?
For someone who has elevated fucking up into an art form, this might well be your Mona Lisa.
How did I fuck up?
I don't know. You've done something. You've disturbed a beekeeper.
We get another beekeeper in this movie that's like a lady, right? And she seems way flashy for such a covert operation.
Well, if you see her, you're dead.
All beekeepers have to keep bees, right?
Apparently, because she had a book about beekeeping.
You gotta. That's helpful.
It's a little on the nose.
I know. So on the nose that I'm giving it 5 out of 5. A 5 out of 5. We watched Joker, Folia Do, and Megalopolis, and like pretty close together. We'll talk about those movies here in a little bit. And then we watched The Beekeeper, and it just felt like some kind of antidote. Like it cleansed us out. And like, all right, this is a palate cleanser.
Yes.
And we can get back into some movies. And it's maybe we're joking in a way, but maybe we're not. But maybe we can do whatever the fuck we want to.
And it is an S-tier film.
All right, yeah, Beekeeper. It's an S-tier movie. Back to Felicia Rashad. I feel bad for every cast member of The Cosby Show except Bill. Right? I mean, obviously, talking about problematic actors and acting icons, you know, Bill, of course, is a I think he is still a convicted rapist. He served a little time, then his lawyer got something overturned. But the cast of The Cosby Show has been lost in the shuffle. And I think what was fun about The Beekeeper, like there's so many elements of it that just, maybe it was silly in a lot of ways, but it was also just kind of fun to see like her again in something, in a big movie, and seeing just the way things came together. It's like, we need to big up. Look, Felicia Rashad didn't rape nobody, you know? Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't rape nobody, as far as I know. But also I understand if it's complicated for them because he literally put himself in the position of being this patriarchal figure for a lot of especially young black actors coming up during that time.
Yes.
And he put them and it had to have felt like an awkward position to them, almost like a relative who they looked up to. They suddenly learn all this shit. But another movie we saw this year is Nosferatu. We saw that around Christmas time. This movie, a lot of split reactions to Nosferatu, I've noticed. The guy who made The Witch and Northman, there's something about it. Like, he has kind of earned the ticket.
Yes.
Even if it's something that you don't think is going to be that great, you're curious as to what he's going to do. Robert Eggers, that's his name.
Yes.
Sorry, we can remember his name for a second. But I don't think Nosferatu is like a really very perfect movie. I think in a lot of ways it is a very nice thing to look at. I think the way he expounded upon the original concepts in the classic silent film was cool. Like when you see the shadow of the hand going across the town. I think that's a really creative thing that is referencing something that the shadow play of the old one, as you know, but it's done it in this cool modern way. Like there was small things like that I thought were really cool. But I think he was up in there's too many close-ups in the movie.
Yes,
all
there
right?
were.
And there was a part in the movie we saw we see most of these in the theater. We went to our Belcourt on I think it was the opening night. It was like Christmas, right?
Yeah, we saw it on Christmas.
And we go and we sit, and it's a pretty loaded theater. We're all excited to see Nosferatu.
We were down front.
There's this part near the end where what's the boy who actually played Renfield in the Nick Cage Dracula?
I know, he was the Beast in
the X-Men movies. When Nicholas Hoult is jogging down the street near the climax of the movie, he's jogging, but the camera is like right up in his face, and it looks awkward. And I was listening to people laugh at the choice there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's parts of it that are just a little like, it's a little overdone. I think the overall look of it is good, but one thing that I part with a lot of people on is that the reimagining of Nosferatu, his style, his look, the weird voice, the grumbly voice, the scene where Nicholas Holt's character first meets him in the castle.
Yes.
I thought that whole thing was actually pretty awesome.
I loved it.
But while admitting that the movie seems a little overcooked, I kind of like the reimagined notion of Nosferatu himself. That big fucking mustache, that shit didn't bother me at all. Nosferatu, what do you give that movie?
I'm going to give it a 4.25.
That's pretty high. I'm going to have to settle on a 3.75 because there's some genuine creativity in that movie, but it kind of wavered in goofiness quite a bit. So, but I didn't mind Nosferatu himself, the performance and the concept.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a 3.75 for me.
8.
Another movie we had seen this year that is nominated for Best Picture. And we've been singing the praises of Sean Baker for a bit. We discussed Tangerine in our first year, pretty early on in our show. And of course, we're talking about the film Anora. And I think it's kind of a cool movie about a sex worker who's involved in these kind of gets baited in by this oligarch's Russian's kid, has an interesting relationship in the process with the kid's like bodyguard Heavy. That's part of the family. They're like gangsters. The energy of like how up and down she is and how she like, it's not some character that's like extremely clever, but she feels very real. And you do end up feeling that sympathy for her at the end. I
really liked this movie. And she did all of her own stunts. She did all of her own dancing. There was no body double in the fight scenes, in the sex scenes, in the stripper scenes. That was her.
Wow.
And
yeah.
I love that. But that's the thing that I love about Sean Baker and why Tangerine is one of my favorite movies, at least in my top 100. It's hard to have favorite movies. But in that, he went and found people who were in the world he wanted to talk about, right? In this case, he found this girl who was so dedicated that she inserted herself into the world that she was going to represent.
Mm.
She actually like went to clubs and like hung out with these girls and like got to know them because she wanted it to be real. That's why, like you said, it just feels so real. The guy that she has this relationship with, I really liked his character a lot. One of my heart votes is for him to get supporting actor. But the interesting part about him is he is brought in as a Heavy, but he doesn't actually know anyone in the family. He's brought in by his friend to be extra security for this one thing. Like, you know what I mean? They're the two outsiders in this like insane world.
Yeah, this chaotic relationship. And it's just so interesting to see where the character's feelings go.
You are getting on this plane. And you are getting divorced.
Yeah, we're gonna get a fucking divorce, but first I'm getting a lawyer. Then I'm gonna sue Yvonne and you, and I'm gonna walk away with fucking half because I didn't sign a prenup.
These emotions can run so high and then just get so thrown away. Culminates in this emotional crash that, of course, there's nowhere else for that to go. But yeah, it just seems like Sean Baker movies are ones where, you know, now it's established that actors can really make their point here. And there's a movie, I forget the actor's name. Of course, we're just kind of running raw here. But in Red Rocket, the guy, like we haven't watched that movie yet, but I've seen clips of this. I forget the actor's name, but he plays this kind of semi-retired porn star who goes back to his old, like, home in Florida, and just the clips I've seen, like the way this guy just walks around, like he's like this fit guy, like it's what you see like tweaked out people in Florida on these coastal towns, like how they move around. Like you could tell like there's something about the Sean Baker's connection to these actors that really that really makes these actors want to just give a very distinct performance. And I think Nora has also been kind of this victim where people are kind of drained at this point of people constantly recommending it. Like people are hearing about it a lot and they're like, so there's almost like this now public resistance to like liking something now that everyone is talking about Sean Baker. But Nora is a really fucking good movie.
Those people need to just get over it. The reason you're hearing it so much is because people who have seen it want other people to see it.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
But I guess Nora is just a movie where people who have seen it just will not shut up about it, apparently. But
I know I'm one of those people.
You haven't been that bad.
I've mentioned it on this show like 10 times probably.
What do you give it?
I'm going to give it a 5. Fuck it.
Yeah, I guess it'll hit S tier because I'm at least a 4.5 on Nora.
Is that 2 Sean Baker S tiers?
Yeah, Nora, Sean Baker, he's got 2 S tier movies. We haven't seen all of his movies, but they're all well regarded, as I understand. We will see them soon. Another movie we saw last year was one that was a bit of a controversy, or at least like people reacted to it like it was the worst shit they ever saw. But I'm talking about, I think it's Todd Phillips's Joker Folie à Deux. Now there's something interesting about like the first Joaquin Phoenix Joker. That is one of those $1 billion movies. Like somehow this Warner Brothers, Time Warner let Todd Phillips make a Martin Scorsese superhero movie. It even has these elements of King of Comedy in it, with actually having Robert De Niro in the movie too. And there's some weird reactions to that movie. Like there was some part of like the corporate liberal media was talking about how it may have been about incel shit. But it seemed like once you saw the movie, that reaction was a little overcooked. Like it was a little dumb. But the movie made a real cultural mark in the sense that like the Joker was already this kind of big pop culture character here in the US and a lot of the Western world. The movie led to people because it was about this character becoming the Joker and the aspect of the world, the tragedy that made him this manic laughing character. Like it led to people talking about the Joker in the sense of like, what is some moment that would turn you into the Joker or something like that? And I think that movie gets a lot of credit for turning that character into this like psychological experiment. And I think that's a whole lot better position to be into with that character than that Heath Ledger people just trying to think it looks. I mean, I think Heath Ledger is great in that movie, but that was like the dominant Joker. And people were like, and there was a guy that like shot up a fucking theater dressing like that, and people were kind of treated that very cynical version of that character, that very dark version of that character, as some kind of like deep thing, like that they could be the Joker. But I am, if anything, grateful for the first Todd Phillips Joker of kind of breaking up that pop culture aspect and turning the Joker concept into this like, what would turn you into this kind of. But Joker Folie à Deux, I wouldn't say it's like a great movie, but it is like a nice looking movie.
It is.
So now, in the light of what the first Joker managed to accomplish in a cultural sense, since Folie à Deux came out, there's a lot of people looking back and being like, actually the first one was total shit too. And it's like, look, I mean, I don't think either movie is S tier or anything, but they're not as bad as people keep saying they are. But I do have to wonder here in Folie à Deux, I have to ask kind of, what is the point of a lot of what we saw in this movie? And what is really going on here? It just kind of feel like Todd Phillips was just kind of shooting from the hip, and he had good shots. I think the cinematography was good. I think he does have a good instinct to that, but it's like maybe like an M. Night Shyamalan scenario where it's like you might need a little bit more than that in this instance to really elevate this, because I can't really blame the maybe the nerdier reactions of like if you walk in and you know Lady Gaga is playing Harley Quinn, that there would be some kind of ruckus moment between those two. Like if you expected that as a fan going into the movies, or it's like, oh, Harley Quinn's in this, so maybe we're going to get a scene where shit goes wild with the two of them. I can't blame anyone for having that expectation, but what we got instead was just him like this long drawn out courtroom drama that doesn't make sense, where he has to justify slapping on makeup.
Is that your God-given name?
Yes.
Really?
Really? Your last name is Puddles?
Why, it sounds like a joke.
Well, it's not. You expect us to believe that your last name is Puddles? Puddles?
Mr. Fleck, where is this going?
But she did catch a building on fire. And they ran out singing. So there was a little bit of crazy.
I was very up and down on the singing parts. Like
I was too.
Get it, and I kind of felt like I would have enjoyed it more if they really played up some aspect of the delusion where they really hit these with like big production.
That is what I was going to say. I think it would have been successful. They did it in like one moment where it kind of went really, really surreal, like they were on a television show. It should have been more of that.
Yeah.
That might have made it better. I did have fun during this movie, though, because...
Was it, which part? When he was raped by the police?
No.
When Brendan Gleeson, like, drags him into the laundry room?
Okay, I didn't have fun.
You had fun. Movie. Like, no one... whether you like this movie or hate it, no one walked out of this movie saying they had fun watching Joker Folia do.
And maybe
except
that's
you,
what,
just
no,
now.
I, look, we know I exaggerate and over...
Hyperbolic is the word.
Hyperbolic. But really the point I'm trying to make is...
You will love someone for like smiling in a movie.
Listen.
I love her. She smiled.
Here's the thing. The reason people get so twisted up about movies like this is that they go in expecting it to blow their fucking minds. I really try to approach everything. If I don't like it, I really don't like it. But I try to approach everything with an open mind and try to give it a shot. You know, I don't expect anything to be perfect. I might have expectations if it's like a director I
think
love.
We're back in Angela's classic hyperbole when you say that people want to go into this movie and have their minds blown. I think that's a little bit of a general statement. I think in general, everyone just wants a good movie no matter what movie they see. But I feel like Joker, the thing that is weak about Joker Folia Do is that the concept of it seemed a little wandering, a little meandering, like it's just kind of I think there's moments that are good in it that look good, but I felt like the overall concept of it wasn't all that cohesive. And and it's just like there's moments where it's like it feels like what are we doing here? But would I say it's the worst movie, that like that hyperbolic statement of people saying it was the worst? Nah, it's not.
These are also two people that I could watch. I love Lady Gaga's not the best actress, right? But I could just watch her, even if it's not good. And I love Joaquin Phoenix, so I guess
So, what do you give Joker Folia Do?
I'm gonna give it a 2.5. The end was a drudge to get through, or I agreed with you that the court scene was not great.
I'm gonna give it a 2.75. At a 5.25, it is a C tier movie, Joker Folia Do by Todd Phillips from 2024. Todd Phillips also directed the Hangover movies and the documentary Hated, the story of Gigi Allen. We have seen that. It was just like
a long
15
ass time
fucking
ago.
years ago, yeah. So another movie we saw, if you can wrap your Emersonian mind around it, is the film Megalopolis. Now, what a interesting. I might have to sit and watch this movie again. Maybe it was too deep for me.
I don't want to watch it again.
I think it might have been too deep for me. Francis Ford Coppola spent a lot of his own money. I kind of appreciate that aspect.
Yeah.
That's what made me want to watch the movie. And I think there's a lot of pre-production things, the production stuff that's come out. Apparently, Francis Ford Coppola was requesting that actresses sit on his lap to help them get in the mood for some of the sexual scenes. And that's the first she heard of that. I'm the one that with all the dirt sheet information. Now, Megalopolis, Adam Driver plays this guy in this very, it is the Roman Empire in America, but everything has this crazy name. Like there's like the Nimrod News Network or some shit. Like it's always, and everything's got this weird sheen to it. But Adam Driver is the super architect who, and the movie's message is essentially that like, art and greatness through art is very important, and it can like, there's kind of a positive message to the whole thing. But we watch this dude get shot in the fucking head and survive, and he invents, you know, the moving sidewalks in airports.
Yeah.
He invented those. He came up with the idea of mushroom plant-like looking buildings, and imagine that walkway at airports.
It's just all
just
everywhere.
moving through your city. The dude's, and there's like an ore that he can control, I forget what they call it, but it's like it's like he has superpowers.
Yeah,
he does.
He can imagine things into existence.
This movie is fucking bonkers, but it does have a lot of like very memorable weird shit. Shia LaBeouf in it is in this movie, and
He is fucking batshit in this movie.
and Aubrey Plaza is kind of I think is genuinely great about Megalopolis, and maybe the only thing that is truly great about it is what the actors put into this movie.
Yes.
It felt like they were having like a time, and they were really going for something different. And you can think it's like goofy. I think there's a lot of genuine criticisms of it, and that it's just kind of ridiculous and stupid in a lot of ways. But I really think that as an ensemble acting piece, that this movie is kind of pretty good in that particular respect. Like it feels like a true actor's movie, and I think that comes across on the screen. It doesn't feel like anyone is half-assing this movie. The way it came through, almost like these characters like a cartoon of themselves. And Aubrey Plaza is mega hot in this movie.
You're on my territory now, and you're gonna play by my rules. Okay? 1, Crassus is mine. 2, the bank is mine. And 3, and this may come as a little surprise to you, right? Caesar's mine. And he has been for a long time.
It's got that scene in our intro where John Voight, before he shoots, I think, Shia LaBeouf with a crossbow, it's in his bed, and he's like,
"What do you think of this boner I got?"
Great lines in this movie, like the Emersonian mind line.
You think 1 year of medical school entitles you to plow through the riches of my Emersonian mind?
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
Entitles me?
Yes.
A lot of people don't like it for good reason, but I think it's a movie everyone should sit down and talk to their friends about. But let's judge Megalopolis right now.
You first.
I think I gotta go 2.5 on this one. And because there's a lot of aspect of it is that Coppola, it's a lot of sucking your own dick in this movie. But at the same time, that's kind of what's the most fun about it.
You think I am nothing? Just a socialite?
No, not nothing, but I reserve my time for people who can think about science and literature and architecture and art. You find me cruel, selfish, and unfeeling? I am. I work without caring what happens to either of us. So go back to the club, bear it all, and stock the kind of people that you enjoy.
Fine.
You know, fuck it, I'm going up to a 3. It's a 3.
The thing that is good about it and makes a lot of the ridiculousness in a way a little forgivable is that it is his great Shakespearean epic. He's trying to make his, Hamlet or the Iliad or whatever, like in his mind. Like he's trying to make this huge, create an entire world.
Yeah. I mean, it's a far from perfect execution, but don't you want that level of audacity?
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not good, but you know what? This is what he fucking wanted it, and he fucking shot his shot, and he spent his money, and good for him.
Yeah.
I hope, you know what I hope? The only thing I hope
sit
he
on
likes
his lap.
No, I'm not going to sit on his lap. Actually, you know what? I don't care if he likes it.
You hope he likes it?
I was going to say, I hope he's happy with it.
I mean, Coppola, he directed Apocalypse Now, the Godfather movies, The Conversation, the those three right there are like some of the great American movies, you know?
Absolutely.
You can't really take anything away from this guy. But Megalopolis, as crazy fun as it feels, is not touching the fucking ground of anywhere near the ground of the other couple of movies that I just mentioned.
Oh, no.
Maybe Jack, the Robin Williams movie. He directed that.
Where he's like
where I think he grows fast.
Yeah, he's a child, but he looks like a man.
He's got progeria without the look.
Yeah.
Progeria. Yeah. Tragic condition. That I'm very fascinated by.
There's a...
Let's just talk about progeria for
the kid that played Karate Kid?
Has progeria?
Isn't it? No.
Ralph Macchio.
He was in a movie about progeria. Really hit me hard when I was young. It was like
a made-for-TV movie.
It might have been made for TV.
They shaved his head and made
him. He got gray
on
hair, and I think at one point they even put like a golfing hat on him. But he makes friends with this grown woman, and it's.
I'll have to check.
He plays like a jazz saxophone. We have to find it and watch it.
I'll have to check that out. What do you give Megalopolis?
I'm also going to give it, and that extra is just for the audacity. It was nice to look at.
I don't know about that.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Really?
I felt like there was something harsh about it in some ways.
I did not like the city he made.
I liked the
other stuff.
But it didn't feel smooth absorbing the movie.
It was like... It was kind of nostalgic for like Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet.
The maximalism.
Yes, the maximalism.
That's what I hear.
Like ridiculous.
The word that's often used for Baz Luhrmann movies, but it kind of works, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of this boner I got?
And yeah, we also, we saw The Substance. We discussed, we got an episode on that. We got an episode on Gladiator 2, which was a lot of fun at the movies. And we got Dune Part 2. But I think that's all I can remember of the movies we saw on hand. But we just talked a good hour about movies we saw last year.
Yeah.
But there's a few movies that I still want to see. I would like to see all the other Best Picture nominations. Yes. We're not going to be able to get to them until after the ceremony. It's like this Sunday. But I want to see, like Nickel Boys stuff. Ramel Ross is a great director. He did a documentary, one Best Documentary at Academy Awards, Hell County this evening.
Yes, that was wonderful.
And that was that is an S-tier documentary that we gave max score on when we watched when we were documenteers. But I want to watch Challengers.
Yeah.
About the going threesies with Mary Jane Watson, MJ. And I've been hearing about. I kind of glazed over it when it came out, but I have actually heard that it's actually a pretty good movie. Is that the new Mad Max, the Anna Taylor-Joy, when she's the young Furiosa?
Yeah.
I've heard that movie is actually quite underrated and a solid action movie. And also anything that, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm a little tired of the guy that plays Thor, but I've seen clips from that movie where it seems like he's actually doing some pretty good acting. And George Miller Mad Max movies, they're always worth the time. And this movie didn't hit its budget when it came out, and it was getting drug by that dumbed down woke conversation, despite the fact that it's based on a character that was in a huge hit movie that was already popular. It's just recast, right? But I do want to see that movie, and most any other movie that has any bit of buzz. We were going to go see The Brutalist tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that movie's almost 4 hours long, and I think we ended up giving the tickets away to some very grateful people who get to go to the Belcourt here in Nashville and experience that place for the first time. That's our home indie theater that we love very much here in Nashville, Tennessee. So it's good that we paid the way. So, and The Brutalist, I heard, has some pretty great acting in it, and
I've heard an intermission too.
And I heard that Guy Pearce is pretty great in it too. And that's just what I heard of word of mouth, and that's a part of our Academy Award predictions.
Yes,
that are coming. And you've got these sheets there. We'll figure out a link in the show notes, and you can get it and download it.
I did just also want to say that I also personally and may have to watch alone Terrifier 3.
Yeah, probably. I don't imagine the story got any better. All right. So
I heard it's better than 2.
So let's see. We're going to go through all of these, and this is our prediction. They're 5 points each if you guess correctly, and if you guess Best Picture. I don't know what we win here. What do we win here?
TBD. But
This is
if
gonna
you
be
want
a
to
sex
propose
thing?
something, you can. But I do want to say it's not every single category
No,
because
no.
some stuff we truly just had no idea.
Yeah, you didn't do Best Documentary, which we would have seen none
Or
of
short
them.
film or short documentary.
Well, let's go through. We'll do the Best Pictures last.
Yeah.
But we'll do. We'll go in your order here. This random order. Production design. I gave it to Conclave, who I have a movie I have not seen. What did you give?
I gave it to Wicked. I have seen Wicked, and it is very impressive visually.
My overall prediction is that The Brutalist and Wicked will be the top two winningest cat movies.
Oh yeah, that's also one you're supposed to say what will be the most winningest movie.
The Brutalist seems like one of those classic, epic, like artsy movies that I think is just mainstream enough that the Academy will carry water for.
Yeah.
So I think I did have, the Academy has kind of surprised us in the recent history. Like I think there is maybe some changes behind how they make decisions. But The Brutalist, just not seeing it and what I've heard about it, it just feels like something that they're just going to pick.
Did you pick that as the one that's going to win the most awards? Because I did.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think I picked Wicked for number 2, even though I haven't seen it.
But there's no number 2.
So what did you pick for production? You picked Wicked.
Wicked, yeah.
For best visual effects, I guess I should name
You
the
go down,
I should name the nominees, right?
Sure.
Why are we so bad at this? Visual effects. The nominees are Alien, Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. I picked Dune Part 2 for
Me
this.
too. Those worms, dude, they're great.
Yeah, the Timothée Chalamet is leading 2 Best Picture noms this year.
Crazy.
Directing. This is a big category. The nominees are Sean Baker with Anora,
Brady Corbett with The Brutalist,
James Mangold with A Complete Unknown,
Jacques Audiard with Amelia Perez. This is my announcer voice for the Oscars.
Coralie Fargit with The Substance. I picked here, sight unseen, Brady Corbett with The Brutalist.
Okay, this was a heart one, and I picked Coralie Fargit.
Yeah, good luck there.
It's not going to happen, but I
think it's going to get snubbed. I think Complete Unknown will get snubbed too.
Yeah.
I picked Brady Corbett. Brady Corbett, I'm going to shock you here. We've seen Brady before. We've discussed a movie starring Brady Corbett when he was a child. He played Brian in Mysterious Skin, the boy with the glasses.
Oh my God.
That is Brady Corbett. He looks like he'd be one of my like that Brady Corbett in Mysterious Skin. That's what I looked like when I was a little
He also
boy.
reminded me of my cousin.
Yeah.
He's just someone who is very relatable.
So yeah, that's
Good
that
for him,
kid.
dude. Fuck yeah.
That's that kid. I picked him for directing. Original score. The nominees are The Brutalist,
Conclave,
Amelia Perez,
Wicked.
The Wild Robot. I picked Wicked.
I picked Conclave.
Okay. Sight unseen. We don't know. We're just looking. Us on site. We're like, that looks like it'd have a real nice score.
Yeah.
To it.
Well, because the ceremony of it and the heaviness of it, I imagine there's a lot of like deep, like brooding sounds.
I think I kind of like these. Like it seems like a weird political Catholic movie. The Catholicism kind of deterred me.
Me too.
But the politics of it might be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's especially if it's showing corruption. I might like that. We will watch all of these. Just at a later time. Actress in a leading role, and the nominees are Cynthia Erivo, Wicked,
Carla Sofia Gascon, Amelia Perez,
Mikey Madison, Anora,
Demi Moore, The Substance,
Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. I picked Cynthia Erivo, and I think based on our heart pick would be Mikey Madison and Nora.
Yes.
I think that is probably who I would actually want to see based on what I've seen and what we understand of the role. But what I think that they will pick is Cynthia Erivo. And I've heard that she's good in it. Can you verify that?
She is really good in it, yes. I picked Demi Moore in The Substance.
I know she's having her Bay moment, but she
won the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
Not that means she'll win this one, but sometimes here's my why. Sometimes they give an award to someone who just hasn't gotten an award yet.
Right, Demi, who's
and
been
I
around.
think that this is her when they fucking gave Julia Roberts the award for. I think she got an award when it really should have been
The Pelican
someone
Brief.
else that year. I don't remember. Anyway, sometimes they give people awards
Runaway
for movies
Bride.
that are maybe not their best movie or even their best performance, but it's like there's a chance to give it to them.
But as far as like a performance, I mean, look, I haven't seen a Demi Moore movie in forever. This probably is up there.
I think this is her best thing she's ever done, probably.
But is it better than Mikey Madison's performance?
No, but I don't think they're going to give it to Mikey Madison, but that would be my heart pick too.
You picked Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Actress in a supporting role, and the nominees are Monica Barbaro, A Complete Unknown.
Ariana Grande, Wicked.
Felicity Jones, The Brutalist.
Isabella Rossellini, Conclave.
Zoe Saldana, Amelia Perez. I picked, I'm just picking The Brutalist to sweep shit, so I picked Felicity Jones.
I picked Isabella Rossellini.
Yeah. I'm excited to see them act in these movies soon.
Yes.
The original song and the nominees are, don't even ask us what movies these come from. El Mal,
The Journey.
Like a Bird.
Mi Camino.
Never Too Late. I assume that
I'm like a bird. I'll always fly
they
away.
brought back that song for this one. I picked that one just because I like the title. And
I picked
I think
Never
it did
Too
make
Late.
me think of that. I assume El Mal's from Amelia Perez or Mi Camino or whatever.
Yeah, one of them.
Actor in a leading role. I think the one thing that almost seems to be universal that I hear about The Brutalist, even from people who didn't think it was as great as other people, is that Adrian Brody does fucking kill it in this movie.
Yeah.
Have I upset you?
Not at all. Did not realize these images were still available, much less of any consequence. May I keep these?
Of course you may. They're very artistic.
I take that on that word, and that's why I'm going with him, his role in The Brutalist.
I am also. He's up against Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown.
Carmen Domingo from Sing Sing.
Ray Fiennes from Conclave.
Sebastian Stan from The Apprentice. And I want to say I've heard really good things about The Apprentice and Sebastian Stan's role in that. I think a lot of people probably wanted to avoid that for emotional reasons because he is playing Trump during this time in which he's playing on that show. But I've heard increasingly that is one of the more underrated performances of the year.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, I recall seeing it at the movies, but I think a lot of people for, just wanting to because they're just so exhausted with everything, had probably ignored that movie, but I've heard it's not one to ignore, and The Winter Soldier actually does a really good job.
Well, then I'm glad that he is getting recognized in this way.
The actor in the supporting role. Who did you pick? Who did you pick on that? On the
Yura
leading?
Borisov.
No, I'm talking about the leading role. Who did you pick?
Oh, Adrian Brody.
Okay. Actor in a supporting role. Yura Borisov from Menorah.
Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain.
Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown.
Guy Pearce, The Brutalist.
Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice.
This was a heart pick for me. As I said a moment ago, I picked Yura Borisov.
Kieran Culkin won the Golden Globe in the same category for A Real Pain. Ed Norton playing Pete Seeger with that scalp wig thing.
I absolutely love your music. I'm such a big fan, Mr. Seeger.
Pete. Harold's putting the lean on you there? Trying to get you to play?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, well, don't hold it against him. It's for a good cause. Want to use this beauty?
They always keep it handy, don't they? He's like a gunfighter with a six-gun, always keeping it close.
Where he looks like the character, the leader from the Hulk comics. As much as I've heard about Adrian Brody's performance in The Brutalist, I've heard almost as much as how great Guy Pearce is.
I almost picked that just because I think it probably will win.
And he's a guy that's always been good that seems to come and go over the years. And it's kind of, I'm not mad at Guy Pearce. What I hear about his performance and Adrian Brody's performance is the thing that makes me want to see, the aspect that makes me want to see The Brutalist the most. Not the runtime, that's for damn sure. But I picked Guy Pearce for this role. Sound, the best sound. The nominees are A Complete Unknown,
Dune, Part 2,
Amelia Perez,
Wicked,
The Wild Robot. I picked Dune Part 2.
Same.
It's just, we know the sound is pretty good in that movie anyway. So, I don't know. Do you recall how I guess Wicked would have... Amelia Perez is a musical as well, so the sound would have to be pretty solid there. Do you recall the sound in Wicked being pretty good?
Well, I've heard only bad things about Amelia Perez. I can't speak to it because I haven't seen it.
It has its apologists. We'll talk about it a
that's
little
cool.
bit.
I'm excited to watch it and I want to form my own opinions. Haven't yet. But, yeah, Wicked sounded great. It's great.
People fucking love that movie.
When I think about sound design, it's more, to me, I mean, Wicked has music all throughout it because it is a musical, but the sound in Dune with, like, again, the worms. I love those fucking worms.
The space warbles, the warbly space sound.
The space warblies. The kiss. You could hear that kiss.
Yeah, between uncle and nephew.
Yeah, I picked Dune Part 2.
The nominees for International Feature Film are Brazil, I'm Still Here.
Denmark, The Girl with the Needle.
For France, Amelia Perez.
Germany, The Seed of the Sacred Pig.
Latvia, Flow. Because I'm Still Here is nominated for Best Picture, unlike all the rest on this list, I kind of defaulted that as the winner.
I did too.
And it seems like the one in which that will be the award that movie gets.
Yeah, I think so too.
Film editing, Honora by Sean Baker.
The Brutalist.
Sean edited his own movie.
David Jansko.
Conclave, Nick Emerson.
Amelia Perez, Juliet
Wellfling. Wicked, Myron Kirstein.
I picked Honora.
I did pick Honora here too. I mean, I think the editing here is very solid.
It's really sharp. It's so fast and good.
Costume design, A Complete Unknown.
Conclave.
Gladiator 2.
Nosferatu.
Wicked.
This is a heart pick for me because I think Wicked's going to get it, but I picked Nosferatu.
I did too. And I thought maybe the smarter pick may be Wicked, but I thought Nosferatu is a very lovely looking movie overall.
Yes.
Cinematography, The Brutalist, Lol Crawley.
Dune Part 2, Greg Fraser.
Amelia Perez, Paul Guilherme.
Maria, Ed Lachman.
Nosferatu, Yarin Blaschke. I just gave it to The Brutalist.
Me too.
I mean, the cinematography, from what I can tell, does look pretty fucking solid.
That's really the only thing I know about it is that the way it looks. So
one of my favorite categories at the Academy Awards. This category is almost like the movie that you really want to win Best Picture but won't, will often kind of shine in this category. Yeah. Original screenplay, Honora by Sean Baker.
The Brutalist, Brady Corbett, Mona Fastvold.
A Real Pain, Jesse Eisenberg.
September 5th, Moritz Binder, Tim Felbon, and Alex David.
The Substance, Corley Farjit. I picked Honora here. I mean, I do know it's a pretty fantastic screenplay. I mean, the story-wise, and the story feels so original, and so I just kind of went for that.
I want that one to win, but I picked A Real Pain.
I get it. It's supposed to be
because I think it will win.
It's like a road movie between Jesse Eisenberg and the Culkin dude.
And I've just heard so much about their interaction. Now, Honora, I would be so happy if it won. I want it to win every award.
You're making a conservative guess here.
But this is a conservative guess for me.
Makeup and hairstyling, A Different Man.
Amelia Perez.
I need you to roll the R's.
Amelia Perez.
Nosferatu.
The Substance.
Wicked. I only picked Amelia Perez because I don't know, the lead in it is transgender, and I just assume that they're going to be good at all the makeup and shit.
Okay, well, I picked The Substance because of when they made Demi Moore look like a under the stairs
that did
goblin.
Look cool. I just wanted to throw Amelia Perez.
I actually think this is the only one that The Substance really will win.
Our last category, actually, before we discuss Best Picture, adapted screenplay. A Complete Unknown by James Mangold and Jay Cox. Yeah, that's a real name.
Conclave, Peter
Strawn.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't see. I'm old.
Amelia Perez, Jacques Audiard, Thomas Bijgain, Leah Messias, Nicholas Leveschi.
Nickel Boys, Ramel Ross, Jocelyn Barnes.
Sing Sing, Clint Bentley, Greg Quetter, Clarence Macklin, John Divine G. Whitfield. For this one, I mean, I'm kind of just running on presumptions here, but I did give this one to Nickel Boys.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you how well it's adapted from whatever it's adapted from, a novel, whatever the fuck. But I don't know. I think I just wanted to give Ramel Ross something here.
Sure.
And I'm interested in seeing Nickel Boys. It looks, the movie seems almost gimmicky in a way, but I know enough about Ramel Ross and what he does that I do have faith in that his visual execution will be pretty good. But that has nothing to do with the adapted screenplay, so it's really just a guess.
I guessed A Complete Unknown, and this is the only thing I have it winning.
I could see that going on. Now, let's talk about our Best Picture nominees. We talked up Nora, all right. The Brutalist, we kind of said all we can about that. A Complete Unknown. Now, we're going to see all these movies, but I'm not chomping at the bit to kind of see. And it's not that I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, you know, or that I haven't spent time with his music. I've really heard split reactions on this movie here quite a bit. I've some people like it, some people don't. It seems like a lot of people I've heard discuss this movie seem to want to clarify how much they know about Bob Dylan, or whether they don't know enough, or maybe they know too much. As I understand it, if you know a lot about, if you know so much about Bob Dylan that he's a bit demystified for you, I heard that you might like be a little nitpicky on this movie.
Sure.
But apparently it ends right when he starts to go electric. And there's that lore that Pete Seeger took a axe handle to the soundboard when Bob Dylan plugged in for the first time. And people called him traitor, but I think that was later on the tour. I'll see it, but I won't say I was ever kind of chomping at the bit for it. I kind of expect it to be kind of mid, so maybe it'll be better than that since my expectations aren't all that high. But I got nothing against Timothy Chalamet. No. He seems to be like the actor now. I know he's got a lot of strive to be one of the great actors out there. He said so as much, and I'm not mad at him. Good luck, kid, you know. Conclave, yes, looks like the Vatican politics.
When I was a child, there was no way of knowing my situation was more complicated. And life in the seminary is, as you know, a very modest one. The truth is, there simply was no reason to think I was physically different from the other young men.
I think this is something, I think Conclave will end up being a movie that like we kind of glazed over like a donut when we first saw it. But I bet it ends up being a movie you sit down with and there's like, actually, that's pretty good. And it's got a lot of veteran actors in it. So Dune Part 2, and we've seen it. We like it. We S-tiered it. So I guess we agree with the nomination. Amelia Perez. Now, we haven't seen this movie. We will see it. It's a European production about, you know, a Mexican culture. We can't really criticize it because we haven't seen it, but a lot of people are kind of mad at this movie. It's a musical. People are saying that it's not very good.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to know about sex change operation.
I see. Men to woman, or woman to men.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina. Is it for you?
For me.
What would you like to know about it, madam?
Apparently this lead said some really shitty things when George Floyd was murdered by the police. Like it was something to do with that shit.
Oh my God.
And she came out, like a transgender actress came out and like apologized for that like recently. But Amelia Perez has won a lot of awards already, BAFTA awards, and won some Golden Globes, but it seemed like when it was on the Academy radar and it popped up that that a lot of emotion surrounding it really got kicked up here. And I think one of the thing that, and I've heard this described that I think is interesting, because even if we had seen this movie, I don't think I would have caught it like that, is that the way it represents Mexican culture and Spanish speaking culture,
and the dialects in particular, right?
feels a little, it's like a little too hodgepodge, like the way it represents Mexican culture. Think about another, like a European movie that's really good, that is about like Western culture, like America, right?
Yeah,
like,
you've got one person who
like,
sounds like they're from Wisconsin and one from like Mississippi.
Yeah, and we might know in that sense, but like a good version of that is like Paris, Texas, right? Where Wim Wenders manages to kind of tap into the lore, because I guess America is as much its surface shit as it is all its deep cut shit. So even if you play on, well, like the maybe what you tangentially absorb from around the world, you can still maybe hit onto an aspect of culture in the United States. And Wim Wenders does that in like just about a perfect way in that movie. But this is mostly like a French production about Mexican culture, and the lead plays like a cartel leader who transitions.
Oh.
So that concept is kind of interesting.
It's interesting, yeah.
But a lot of people who have, that maybe the Academy thinks they're appeasing by putting this movie up, there's been a pretty broad range of criticism about it. A lot of people seem to think that this is one of the worst movies that are nominated up here. But all that just kind of makes it more curious about it. I mean, you could take it down and throw in the beekeeper in the last minute. That's what should be happen.
Yes. Oh,
but
or the bike riders, honestly.
But the criticism on the representation of culture in the Spanish-speaking language and the dialects, I thought that that criticism really stuck with me, because we wouldn't have caught the nuances of that. Because like it's about Mexican culture, and then Selena Gomez shows up in it. But I am curious about it, and it does have its apologists. So it does suck that like that person who's the lead, that when George Floyd was murdered by the police, it's like this person is stupid. A lot of people seem to think this does seem to be the Academy almost queer baiting a little bit. Is that what you call it? When you try to put up to seem like you're going to appease, when really like the real gay movie is probably Wicked and not Amelia Perez, right?
Yes. Wicked is a queer movie.
Quill.
If something wins, it should be because it's good, not because of what it might have been trying to say if it didn't get there. Again, we haven't seen it.
I'm still here. I just really have heard little to nothing about this movie. It's a Brazilian movie. I'm excited for it because I might recommend we watch this first, just because I know so little about it.
Tá olhando o quê? O que vocês querem? Cadê meu marido? Vai embora! Sai daqui, vai embora! Sai!
We can't really say anything at all. Nickel Boys, Ramel Ross, I think he's an artist that's worth checking his stuff out.
See, the problem is, Elwood, you didn't know how it works.
Nana, what is it?
I let you down. I'm okay. Yeah. I let you down. No.
And we will get there. The Substance we've seen. And I think in our review that I recall, like, we like The Substance most of the way through. The style of it, it's how gross it is pretty great.
Is everything okay? So smile! That's what we want tonight! Pretty girls should always smile!
How it bears all is pretty great.
Monstro Elizasu is one of the most insane things to ever have been put on screen. And the longer I thought about it, the farther I get from watching it, the more I like that part of it.
You'll recall in our criticism that I felt like the end part ran the course a little too long. I think the movie did completely overstay its welcome. I think there's a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff about the movie. I think there is something unique about it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to launch into a
nominated-
whole thing, but I do think if we talked about it now, I would say some different things than I did before, and I'd probably give it a higher score than I did before because I now
you were
think
high on it. You were very.
I was.
You got an
I
A.
really liked it. It's whether or not you think what you're doing is like great, or if you realize like, oh, I'm going to push this to a point where people are uncomfortable about it and don't want to watch it.
I don't think when it was over pushed, like I felt like I didn't feel uncomfortable. I just felt like a little bit like, yeah, okay, you know, it wasn't a discomfort. I mean, a lot of that movie is like really discomfortable.
That's true.
on purpose. Like
Yeah.
I get that point. Wicked. I just want to thank you because you have seen Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
I have not, but you haven't just talked about it endlessly. You've maybe mentioned it once or twice, or just when I ask you any kind of question about it. But I'm pretty sure you're the only person who's seen Wicked and liked it and has not made it just the entire centerpiece of your entire personality.
No.
This is almost I am going to watch the movie eventually, but this almost feels like that Harry Potter thing about it where people are just it's so defining for them. And I don't want to shit on people loving it. I think that's great if you genuinely connect with it. But it does make it seem, I can't help it. Maybe the dickish part of me wants to like pick it apart because so many people are just so like losing their fucking shit over it.
What? What are you staring at? Do I have something in my teeth?
No, it's just. You're green.
I am.
Here's the thing that I think is important to say, and people whose opinions I do respect, like I've seen tweets and Instagram, whatever, social media stuff that people have said along the lines of what I'm about to say. The musical's fine. I read the book. I liked the book. I also listened to the book audio that had like actual actors playing the parts. It was really good. This is a while ago. The musical I saw, it was fine. I didn't really care that much about the musical. I wouldn't have seen this movie in the theater if it weren't for taking our niece. But I'm so glad I went because I never got it. I was always like, yeah, it's fine. It's a good musical, whatever. But the movie really is beautiful. And it really is something I'm glad I saw in the theater. And
yeah, I heard the
it's
acting
very
in it
emotional.
is good. I heard the acting is good.
I do think that Cynthia Erivo, if she wins the award, it is deserved. She's great. And her voice is amazing.
It seems like the way you saw it is the best way to see it.
Yes.
You went to see it with people who are excited about it. It is this big cultural thing, and kind of has been for like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
The book was a bestseller, but like the musical, the life of that has far surpassed the book itself.
It has, but the reason that someone like me, I think, likes the movie so much more than I ever expected is that more of the book story is brought into it. It's more adult. It's more, there's more like subversive stuff because,
yeah, I've heard
you know,
some of that about it.
And they bring that in more. It's not so much that a kid who's just excited to see Wicked is going to be upset by it, but it's enough for an adult to go, fuck yeah, they're talking about that, you know?
It looks like a CGI, almost said cum dump. It's incredible. I'm glad I didn't say that. That's so gross.
Well, you did say it.
But it looks like just a kind of an intense CGI experience.
It didn't feel weird though.
Okay.
It, you know, sometimes
was there some good immersion in it, like in the environments of the world that they're dealing with?
Yeah, I really liked it. And you know, sometimes I have trouble with that disconnect if something is too CGI or I feel like it looks fake or whatever. I was just in it to have fun. I had low expectations, but I legitimately really liked it. And I think I even maybe shed a tear.
Yeah, because you're with like all the hyped up crowd. That's what I mean. The best way to see it is probably how you saw it. You're in a palpable energy of the
Yes.
people who really want to see it. And there's probably no better way to watch a movie than like that.
Well, to be completely honest with you,
I heard people are singing in the theater.
it was
though.
a little annoying when people started singing in the theater, especially if they didn't really know the words or if they were too
Cynthia
loud.
Erivo said that
bugs me.
if you want to hold space and sing along with the movie, that you should.
I would never tell anyone not to. It was
Bobby.
distracting to me in the way that when we saw the Iron Claw, the woman next to me was talking to the movie the whole time. It's distracting to a point of me being like, you are upsetting my experience of
She
watching
was just
this
saying
movie.
wrestling facts about the Von Erichs.
Or
right?
commenting upon differences in the real story from what was in the movie. Well, she was even meaner than that. Well, there was another son. Where's this one at? Where's this one
It
at?
sounds like you're doing an impression of your mom if she watched wrestling. Anyway, I picked The Brutalist for
I did
Best
too.
Picture. Because it just feels like that's what they're going to do. All right? The Academy Awards, there you go. We're really going to take a break after this. And we were glad that we got to rate a few more movies and talk about some movies that we've seen in the past year that are a lot of fun. I might be forgetting like a few more as well, but whatever. Those are definitely some notable ones that aren't in the Academy conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But we lost someone. We lost a master recently, a fellow by the name of Gene Hackman. And while I do want to get to these Academy Award performances, I actually feel it's been a while since we discussed Superman. He's great in Superman. His Lex Luthor is great. But it's been a while since I've seen some other Gene Hackman movies. And he's the guy that elevated everything he was in.
Yep.
And so I think when we're done here, actually, it's really fucking late. Maybe we'll watch it tomorrow, actually. But I think the next movie we're going to watch is a movie that we've owned, that we haven't watched, that we've never seen yet, that is one of Gene Hackman's most prolific. This movie won Best Picture. I think he won Best Lead Actor and one of his biggest movies. And I think we're going to get into other Gene Hackman movies too, because I'm just in the mood. I want to watch The Conversation again. Hoosiers, Unforgiven. Unforgiven's great. That's like Clint Eastwood's best movie, maybe. And that he directed anyway. But we're going to watch The French Connection. We've never seen it. It's been one I've been wanting to see for a long ass time. We happen to own it, just anticipating watching it. We're not going to discuss them for the show. Who knows? If we watch 6 Gene Hackman movies, maybe we'll come back and just do what we did with the 2024 movies.
It would be interesting if we came in like once a month and we're like, here's what we've seen. And here's what we thought about it.
I've kind of been
For
thinking
just
about
like
it
an hour
that.
like we just did.
Just
but just
spitballing, yeah. That doesn't sound like such a bad thing.
I don't think so.
Anyway, we really are going to take a break though. So, but when we come back, we're going to talk about a M. Night Shyamalan movie. But go ahead, check the link, and she'll put she'll put it on our website.
Yeah.
And I'll put a direct link to it.
Yes.
On the website, so you can print out our chart, our Best Picture chart. But it is missing some categories. But whatever.
Yeah, whatever. If you do it, we want to know your score.
We'll see you before too long.
Take care. We love you.
What do you think of this boner I got?
The juice is loose. So smile!
Thank you for watching The Projectors. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We are available on YouTube and podcast. You can also support the show by liking, leaving comments, reviewing, sharing, and never questioning Bob when he claims that certain characters in movies are like autism. We love you. Goodbye.
And the seas will split and the ship will hit, and the sands on the shoreline will be shaking, and the tide will sound and the wind will pound, and the morning